Kennedy Ámore. Kennedy Ámore, is she here? Yes, Kennedy, you are there, please. Another brilliant Agnes Scott student. There we are.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kennedy Ámore. I'm a first-year Agnes Scott student, and this poem is a culmination of different poems that I have written, and I added more, but overall, this poem is a message to my people. I am the queen of the wind. The earth is the color of my skin. My head has not bled because of the universe's Milky Way in my head. I anoint my hair with jojoba oil for my hair to grow with soul. I feel my ancestors' home inside of my bones. I know the road of which my destiny goes, to be in control of my own flow, for the crown that grows inside of my soul. And the wind blows to soothe me to sleep at night when I cannot breathe, thinking of all of my ancestors' pain of when they reaped in the rain for themselves not to feel the pain. That pain seeps through and follows us through lineages. In these times, I need us to recognize the vines, understand the time in the past, present, and the future, or is that even a thing? I understand we distance ourselves, but we need to close the gap, take the reins. Understand, understand, overstand what has happened in our past. In order to recreate our future, don't make the same mistakes. Our stories were written for a reason. We must send Kofa and hold it in our arms and treat our stories like a loving mother to her child. Those who have their eyes closed, open the ones you cannot see, understand what's going on around you, and me. I need for us to come out of the sleeping pill. This ain't the Matrix. Take the reins and go along our way. It is so hard to fight a battle when those around you are blind to it. Sleeping soundly through the bombs, take the covering off of your eyes and allow yourself to realize the flames that arise, they are right there in front of you, and me. Understand, overstand, understand. It is not just me. It is all of us, you see. Please. Oh, I cry. They have cried. I hear their cries, whether it's day or night, and I see it in your eyes. I see it all. It doesn't take me long to realize, but these things, oh, these things that are around us, that we have in our minds, and we contemplate, and we take another path away from what we should be doing to heal and come together and combine and join. I need you to hear me. I need you to understand. I need you to open up and look, listen, touch, taste, feel, hear, see. Because this battle, this war, it isn't going away anytime soon. In fact, it's here to stay. But it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. Control or be controlled. Don't be unsold. You are not an artifice. You are life itself, a divine being, so treat your temple as so. Open up your mind to the things that are unknown. Open, open, open. Don't stay closed. Those closed stay buried. And you must rise. We must rise. You must rise. We are the beginnings of history. We are a royal beginning. We are the beginning of space. We are the African. We are the inventors. We are the creators. We are the makers and the seers. We don't make it. We make it. We don't fake it. We educate it. We are the doers. But now, it's like no one really speaks. It's like our history has ended. There isn't any feeling, no vibe, no culture, and no pride. So please come out of that sleeping pill, my people, so that I can find my tribe.
Joy Thomas, Joy, are you there? Yes, Joy, indeed you are there. So Joy, one of our brilliant young poets from Agnes Scott, please come over to the podium and share your poem.
Hi, I'm Joy. So these are two short poems, so I'm gonna give you guys a little background. Joy's my middle name. When I was younger, my mom used to wake me up for school by calling my first name. And my dog named Walrus would respond by rushing to my room, jumping on my bed and licking me awake. These poems are about how my name died along with her. In a recent dream, I picked a rose on a trail. Honeybees plucked the splinters from my fingers and kissed me sweetly. My name was whispered in a language I will never know and was carried by the wind into the sun where it burned. For the first time, I watched something die, and I didn't wish that I could leave with it. Walrus of Sides. I laid on your chest a month after my dog died, and the sound of your heartbeat reverberated behind my eyes. It slowed with your exhale and quickened on the end. Oh, the caves and cliffs of your breath made me walk with death again. Your heart will slow and your skin will pale, just like hers. But I held her through every last breath, and I can't know if anyone will even remember me. My name, my breath, my heartbeat, I fear I'll be buried to the tune of the pulses of all the people I have loved. I'll feel the touch of you on my face, my wrist, my skin, and you'll feel the touch of dirt and someone different. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joy, for reading that very fine, very moving poem. And also a little window into how you lost your first name. Right. So since I don't have any bio information for Carolyn, I let Carolyn speak for herself. Can you put her on? Carolyn, you are free to join us.
Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here once again. My daughter, Maya, is an alum of Agnes Scott. She is now a Wall Street woman. She just graduated. So I'm pleased to be here representing once again. I'm a poet myself. And I have one piece for you today. I'm going to be reading, it is entitled Psalms 151. Now, in the word, there are only 150 Psalms, and I imagined if there was one more that I could render, it would be Psalms 151. So it reads as follows. God, I owe it all to thee to be the best that I can be. In serving you in all that I do, Lord, give me wisdom the size of you. God, all I want to be is a servant of thee. And all I want to do is to be totally sold out for you. Your wish is my command, and I promise to follow you and be kind to my fellow man. Your will I'll do every day. For others I will pray. Lord, use me every second to someone who needs a blessing. Guide and direct me in this journey called life. Increase my wisdom both day and night. I want to be obedient and walk in your ways all of my days. Thank you for a rainbow that comes after the rain. It stirs my soul and it eases my pain. When I grow weary and my days are growing thin, remind me of thy love time and time again. You're so gentle and so kind. Give me the inner spirit like thine. It's a joy to worship you every moment that I live. Show me places where there's more that I can give. Set before me the things I need to do to be more in line with the days you've planned my whole life through. Give me courage and strength to face those times when I must sit still and do your will and not mine. Use every opportunity to connect my days and correct my bad ways. Thanks for bending and stretching me so I look at my life in your hands and I can do nothing but grow. The more I read, the more I know. Daily I get closer so. Lead me and guide me all over this land and show me who needs a helping hand. When the wick of my candle begins to get low, I thank you, Lord, that inward I can go. to revive and refresh and begin again, to show you just how much light glows within. Thanks for paying the ultimate price. I want to serve you every day of my life. May may my living not be in vain. Eternal life is my aim. And I thank and praise you for all you've done for me. Humbly submitted, your servant, me. So that's my rendering, and I really appreciate you all being here with all the poets around the world today. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Agnes Scott, again for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you, Carolyn, for,
right.
now I'm going to call Ruain Rosenberg to come and present her poems. And again, Agnes Scott is rich in this, a huge treasure trove of, I would say, if I can use that expression, with poets, students with such poetic talent, of talent in poetry, in creativity. And Roy is one of those outstanding ones that the little that I have seen of her poems clearly shows that she's really, really worth listening to and worth watching for the future as well, because I think she's going to go places with her poetry. So Roy, please join us.
This is called You Have to Do It Blind. I don't know the age it started, but when I was young, I liked to play a wordless game with my own shadow, peerless and unspoiled. Out for recess, I'd lean against the side of the gym, which in those days I thought looked like a factory. My shadow, when cast on this light wall, took on its own manner, though it was confined to the movements I made. It was not reaching out beyond the edges where I was. Really, it was reaching into me, constructing a mechanism of silence capable of filling the whole world to no end. It would have, if this were a world where everyone talked to their shadows this way. I never tired of it. The fact that it could not reach out beyond the confines of my form did not stop it from taking on forms much unlike my own. I would imagine my shadow dressing up with the images of many fascinating and conjured people I created. There were knights and divine warriors, wild animals that could speak and implore me for my affection. My shadow of then knew what I liked and didn't. It waited devotedly when I wanted to play with the other children and teach them the newest twist I'd read about wars of animal geopolitics. But it becomes much harder to reach it to oneself with compassion. After a certain age, I'm not sure which, there is a threshold that, once crossed, forms a division between anonymity, that which I desire, and the trust and enjoyment of my peers, that without which I could not occupy humanness. When I do play these days, I am most often alone. I can't play the same way I used to. The opacity changed irrevocably. But I am not uncreative. I do not lack playfulness. If I were asked to name it, I would cite some enormous sensation of unsafety that is immune to the opium necessary for a world safe enough to hold me. It is present always, silent and as fixed as all the stars embedded in heaven. It is possible to play anywhere, profane or otherwise, but it costs you, erodes you in places you would scarcely miss. I don't ask what happens to these artifacts of myself I trade for normalcy and routine, but the price is paid, and I'm not losing height or am I getting taller. The cost is not made immediately visible irregardless. Yes, I don't see what is taken from me. And most days I feel I can afford to leave that unexamined, but Shabbat makes me feel reverent, leaves nothing for me to hide behind. I cannot write to purge the music howling in my body, to try to keep me from looking at how I am denigrated and displaced by these worries of my life. I fantasize about sex with someone worthy of my intellectual investment. I consider what materials and time I may have for magic, and I cry. Oh God, I cry when the blinds are drawn, and my shadow slips over me like a second skin, brushing every protrusion, hugging around every corner. The nakedness made of me by my shadow given form is something ripe and extant, vulnerable. I know shamefastness covers my glance with veils of silk and silence. The watchers in their towers around the perimeter trade places, change the guard, and comfort the beast who sleeps fitful and hot, imprisoned and shuttered inside for want of honor, some Catholic religion of assimilants, gray faces. The beast twitches in sleep, her human brow furrowed, bent and twisted whiskers gesticulating at the wordless movements of her lips. Under her breath, she is praying. She is praying that soon God may throw open the doors, that she may stain the flagstones and pollute the waters with that wasted sensation spent on idols pleased only by rape and borderless devastation of every body ever touched by the covenant at Sinai. See, when this sister monster is awake, she likes to know pleasure, for her dreams are the furthest thing from pleasant. She sits closely and listens to my shadow talk, for she is most fond of the kind of reach her own shadow would make. That she crept out from, seeking the center of her hiding place, like filling the wound. This is not something you can simply ask another person to do for you. Your shadow knows everything, of your long, suffering, and gangrenous hate inside you, to which you perform a blasé response, when really you'd much rather stand in a cold river about it and recite lamentations. Your shadow curls into you in sleep, saturating you, secreting you within it. You are bound, venerated within a cavern of familiarity and sadist compassions. This is a velvet black slice of space and time, full of game and native fruits, poison berries, and the kind safe for eating hang side by side, shining with sweat and humid climate. This is a river I cannot see that I meant to cross, and I don't know whose graves I'm stumbling over. Lacking their names, I whisper my regrets and thank God I have not split my head open like a sour fruit, slipping on the rocks, cracked and splintered, and I fall into a drop I could not see. The river runs cold and total over my ankles, raw blisters pulsating at my heels. My steps are heavy now, and so loud, and I can't help but remember the paradox name from Rico Fermi, that there are only so many ways one can cross a river blind and survive, I should specify.
The fourth one, we begin with Rupert Fike. And let me introduce Rupert. He's been here several times before, and of course, good friend. Poetry I admire greatly also, again. Rupert Fike's second collection of poems, Hello the House, won the Ask Poetry Prize and was listed as a books all Georgians should read in 2018 by the Georgia Center of the Book. His poems have appeared in The Sun, the Southern Poetry Review, ANU Americas, AIDS Magazine, the Flannery O'Connor Review, and the Buddhist Poetry Review, and others. Here, the poem inscribed in a downtown Atlanta plaza. That is something. Rupert, you will
Thank you.
come here. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Kwaja. It's great to have everybody here today for poetry. Hello, Scott. These two, I'm reading two poems, and these events, I just realized, are separated by 58 years. Wow. The first event happened last month at the Democratic Convention, right? I cried. Ode to Michelle Obama. More than anything else, we don't want to disappoint you, especially after you made us cry last night. That built up pressure from long unwept tears escaping as you voiced the engaged compassion we'd almost forgotten about. And though it'd be unfair to ask you to be the czarina of the good planet Earth, that does have a ring to it. Because you could stop the senseless carnage in Gaza, Ukraine, and those famine wars in Africa that rarely get mentioned since it's black people killing other black people. But with you in charge, Miss Michelle, all warring parties would be commanded to stop their foolishness. And I mean right now. And they would. They would. Once you gave them that strong mother look, your lower lip doing that twisty thing, whatever it is. All the bad boys of the world would straighten up when they see it because they don't want to be sent to their rooms. Because nobody ever wants to make you sad, Miss Michelle. And look, we're trying ourselves to make you proud. We're working as roadies for Hope, the indie jam band that's gotten back together for its worldwide comeback tour. Look, we're schlepping Hope's heavy amps and speakers up steep backstage stairs. We're putting down our phones. We're tweaking each sound check for Hope until it's perfect. We're doing something. somebody makes you cry, you gotta do something. You gotta write a poem, right? So this is University of Georgia Dormitory, 1966. There was a war going on and we wanted to be brave. All boys wanting to be brave, wanting to make the grown-ups proud. But in the 1960s, our elders had gotten into their heads that their fragile masculinity depending on pursuing a made-up war and marching a generation of young men, us, off to Vietnam, a country that today is united and communist, and nobody seems to care. A country where LA couples take 2-week, 5-star getaways in a communist eco playground. There was a war going on and we wanted to be brave. Boys always wanted to be brave. Boys always wanted to make their elders proud. But we studied deep into each night to stay out of the war. There was our one big chance to prove we were brave. The chance fell from Cordeal got after failing Chemistry 121. This was when the failure of one college course meant the immediate loss of your 2S deferment and an immediate pre-draft physical. Phil, whose South Georgia high school math classes had not prepared him for college-level science. Phil, who was clumsy, no good at sports. Phil, who would not even get on my skateboard. Phil, whose glasses were just a bit too thick. We shook our heads at the thought of him over there. He sent us postcards from basic training, his fuzzy cheeks below a too big helmet. Phil was a boy, basically. A boy now out on search and destroy. A boy pushing his way through chest-high elephant grass. We looked for his face on the nightly news in our dorm's TV room. We pointed to the screen, thinking we saw friends, thinking maybe we saw Phil, who so recently had been on our hall, fresh out of high school, unprepared for what the world was going to ask of him. 200 Phils a week were being killed that year. Their names destined to be on a long wall in Washington. There was a war going on and we wanted to be brave. So we studied deep into each night while dreaming of other ways to prove our courage. Maybe we could pull injured children from fiery car wrecks just before they exploded. Surely that would prove we were brave. But there were no fiery car wrecks. There was only the war that would not stop. The war where cousins flew Huey helicopters outside of Pleiku, and we did not. Hiding out in college isn't right, we told our families at Thanksgiving. It's just poor kids and black kids who get drafted who have to fight. All right then, our uncle said, enlist. Show us what you've got. We didn't want to go that far. Krishna told Arjuna he had to go fight. That's from the Bhagavad Gita. Hector's body was defiled outside Troy. That's from the Iliad. And God said to Abraham, kill me a son. That's from Highway 61 Revisited. The Bob Dylan album we sometimes played in our metal desk rooms where we studied to stay out of the war that was our one chance of being brave. And we stayed in those rooms where we studied while not being brave. Thank you so much.
Thanks a bunch, Rupert. Yeah, very moving, as always, very pertinent. Excellent to have your voice in this reading.